Que bueno, mi gente. Calix Boxing here. Hit that sub button somewhere up here or down there for nightly boxing videos. Mayweather and Pacquiao. Pacquiao versus Bradley 3 didn't break even. Bob Arum came out today and said it did somewhere between 400 and 500,000 pay-per-view buys, which is a little more than I expected, to be quite honest. And Mayweather versus Berto, we know that fight tanked as well. They lost a ton of money on that fight. Red ink everywhere in that fight. So what do we have here? We have Mayweather versus Pacquiao sucked. They built it up, let it marinate for years and years, 6 and 7 years, and the fight ended up sucking. It was a dud. They put me to sleep by the 8th round. I didn't even care who won the fight at that point because the fight was just terrible. Both fighters just looked uninteresting as hell. So what you have now is basically the free markets are boycotting these two guys as far as pay-per-views go. They're like, no. If you want my money, you got to give me something interesting this time. And they don't trust these guys to give them something interesting at this point after that dud. So now if these guys want to continue to fight, because both fighters are saying they were tired, which, fine, right off into the sunset. But if Mayweather wants to come back for his 50th fight, it's got to be against Triple G. If you want people to be interested, you got to get creative. You got to take a risk. It's got to be Triple G. If Pacquiao wants to come back for another fight and sell pay-per-views, it's got to be versus Canelo. You got to step up and wait. You got to challenge yourself a little more, and you got to fight a Canelo. It's got to be something interesting. That's where these guys are at this point. They made a ton of money off of people, sold tons of pay-per-views, which they've deserved in the past, but they turned people off with Mayweather versus Pacquiao. It was such a terrible fight and such a dud compared to expectations that they've turned off the market, and people are done. People are done with it. You can see with the numbers that the casuals have turned out. And you can talk to casuals on the street. I talk to casuals all the time. They didn't even know Mayweather was fighting Berto. They didn't even know Pacquiao was fighting Bradley. They didn't even know. And the ones who didn't care. I know people who have been watching Pacquiao fights for years who if they watched it on the hacked Amazon Fire Stick. Same thing with Mayweather versus Berto. Not interested. Not interested. So after that dud, you got to give us something more interesting. You got to get creative. Come on. Peace.